Ooh, hey, ladies, top of the day, top of the day. That's wobble, that's wobble. I know, right? I came down here, he was sitting down here. I was like, blessed be the most holy. Shemai down here, y'all bright and early. Okay. Yelemia has joined us this morning. Jeremiah. Yeah, he was down here bright and early. I thought he was going to oversleep today. Came down here. And he is sitting here ready. No, I came down here, did my workout, and then I went up to take a shower and came back down. You shocked me, brother. You shocked me. Top of the day, beautiful people. Top of the day. Hold on, 49. Sorry. Top of the day. Okay, we'll do the 3. 51. All right, I'm sorry. Top of the day, beautiful people. Top of the day. It is Friday. Happy Friday. Happy Friday. It is Friday, December the 18th, 2020, day 27 of reading through the books of the law and the prophets. And of the 3-year consecutive day count, day 696. Y'all, we almost at day 700. Hey. Like, I love tracking progress. I write down just about everything and I store it. I was probably created to be a scribe anyway. I don't know. I'm just saying. But no, it really is. It's exciting to begin, although it can seem mundane sometimes. But as you look over the course of time, you will see how you progress, and you're able to track your change, so to speak. You know. All right. So, let me write this down. 22, 23. Okay. Also, let me make mention of something here first and foremost. I know yesterday that I said I was going to share a reference with you. And I shared all the references except for this one. Remember the one I was talking about? I was talking about the angels design. I mean, not design, but the angels over each body part and stuff. I said I was going to share that reference. I didn't share that reference because yesterday, as I was reading a little bit more, and it's not just here's why, it's not just the 3 books of Enoch that's in that compilation of books, historical manuscripts, but there are a few other ones listed in there. They just kind of put them together, right? And I was about to put the reference in there for y'all and give y'all the page number and everything. But as I flipped through it a little bit more into a couple of the other manuscripts that were added, let's just say I need to check into that a little bit more, you know? So, I mean, I could give it to you, but I don't want to give you something that, I'm not saying that I'm just saying I'm not familiar with that information. Let's just put it that way. So I'm not going to share that reference with you all until I have had a chance to really go through that, because I don't want to share something that's going to hurt somebody. I don't want to lead anybody astray. So I'm withhold that reference for now, but I figure I should tell you because I know some of you asked for it and you're looking for it. So I'm not going to put it up there. So just stick with the Book of Enoch we got, because it's good, you know. So, but later after I go through it and research some stuff and I verify it, I'm gonna have to pray and ask y'all, can I share this one? And then we'll see. Okay. So that being said, y'all, today we are reading Enoch chapter 49 through 51. All right. So let's go ahead and get started here. All right, y'all.
All right,
you want some coffee?
I was gonna get something before I wrote about it.
The French vanilla is on the top shelf in the back. All right. Trina said, for the last few days, I have been waking up around 3 or 4 a.m. Should I get up because I lay here and I'm not able to go back to sleep? I'm so tired. Well, you could get up, Trina. You could lay there and pray. You could lay there and read your Bible if you're tired. It's known. It's been a proven fact, at least in my case, anyway. I've heard it from other people. When you're trying to go to sleep, if you can't go to sleep, open up the Bible. You'll fall right to sleep. Even if it's not your intention to fall asleep while reading the Bible, you're going to end up falling asleep. So if it's rest you need, try doing that. And if you're still up and you can't go to sleep while reading that, then it's probably a sign that y'all's telling you to get up, and just pray, ask them for rest. Make sure you're resting on the days that you have off. And I'm not sure if you guys ever experienced it. If any of you actually pray in your heavenly language, when you do, at least in my experience, I got to be doing it for at least an hour for actually to feel a shift happen in my body. But that will also bring a rest to you if you have your heavenly language. But you gotta train yourself to do that, and you'll actually begin to feel the effects. I don't even know how that works. I really can't explain it. But all I know is that something happens after about the hour point of praying in tongues, y'all. So that's the way to get rest. And it's a better rest. Like it feels like a rest for your whole, not just your body, but your soul, like everything. It's like, whew, it's like truly a refreshing. So try a couple of those things, Trina. All right, y'all. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. I'm sorry, right here. All right, y'all. Enoch chapter 59. Wisdom is poured forth like water, and glory fails not before him forever and ever. For potent is he in all the secrets of righteousness, but iniquity passes away like a shadow and possesses not a fixed station. For the elect one stands before Yahuah, Sabaoth. Okay, babe, I'll say. All right, love you too. For the elect one stands before Yahuah, Sabaoth, and his glory is forever and ever, and his power is from generation to generation. With him dwells the spirit of knowledge, the spirit of wisdom, the spirit of instruction, and the spirit of might, and the spirit of those who sleep in righteousness. He shall judge secret things, nor shall any be able to utter a single word before him, for the elect one is in the presence of Yahuah, Sabaoth, according to his own pleasure. Enoch chapter 50. In those days, the holy ones and the chosen shall undergo a change. Listen to this, y'all. In those days, the holy ones and the chosen shall undergo a change. The light of day shall rest upon them, and the splendor and glory of the holy ones shall be changed. In the day of trouble, evil shall be heaped up upon sinners, but the righteous shall triumph in the name of Yahuah, Sabaoth. Others shall be made to see that they may repent and forsake the works of their hands, and that glory awaits them not in the presence of Yahuah, Sabaoth, yet that by his name they may be saved. Yahuah, Sabaoth, will have compassion on them, for great is his mercy, and righteousness is in his judgment. And in the presence of his glory, and in the presence of his glory, nor in his judgment shall iniquity stand. He who repents not before him shall perish. Henceforth, I will not have mercy on them, says Yahuah, Sabaoth. Enoch chapter 51. In those days shall the earth deliver up from her womb, and Sheol deliver up from hers that which it has received, and destruction shall restore that which it owes. He shall select the righteous and holy from among them, for the day of their salvation has approached. And in those days shall the elect one sit upon his throne, where every secret of intellectual wisdom shall proceed from his mouth. For Yahuah Sabaoth has gifted and glorified him. In those days the mountains shall skip like rams, and the hills shall leap like young sheep, satiated with milk, and all shall become like angels in heaven. Their countenance shall be bright with joy, for in those days shall the elect one be exalted. The earth shall rejoice, the righteous shall inherit it, and the elect shall possess it. Shalom, Natasha. Shalom, shalom. Let's go ahead and read Enoch 52. After that period, Enoch 52. After that period, in the place where I had seen every secret sight, I was snatched up in a whirlwind and carried off westwards. There my eyes beheld the secrets of heaven and all which existed on earth, a mountain of iron, a mountain of copper, a mountain of silver, a mountain of gold, a mountain of fluid metal, and a mountain of lead. And I inquired of the angel who went with me, saying, what are these things which in secret I behold? He said, all these things which you behold shall be for the dominion of Mashiach, that he may command and be powerful upon the earth. And that angel of peace answered me, saying, wait but a short time, and you shall understand, and every secret thing shall be revealed to you, which Yahuah Sabaoth has decreed. Those mountains which you have seen, the mountain of iron, the mountain of copper, the mountain of silver, the mountain of gold, the mountain of fluid metal, and the mountain of lead, all these in the presence of the elect one shall be like a honeycomb before the fire, and like water descending from above upon these mountains, and shall become debilitated before his feet. In those days, men shall not be saved by gold and by silver, nor shall they have it in their power to secure themselves and to fly. There shall be neither iron for war, nor a coat of mail for the breast. Copper shall be useless, useless also that which neither rusts nor consumes away, and lead shall not be coveted. All these things shall be rejected and perish from off the earth when the elect one shall appear in the presence of Yahuah Sabaoth. We're going to end at 53. Enoch 53. There my eyes beheld a deep valley, and wide was its entrance. All who dwell on the land, on the sea, and in islands shall bring to it gifts, presents, and offerings. Yet that deep valley shall not be full. Their hands shall commit iniquity. Whatsoever they produce by labor, the sinners shall devour with crime. But they shall perish from the face of Yahuah Sabaoth, and from the face of his earth. They shall stand up and shall perish forever and ever. I beheld the angels of punishment who were dwelling there and preparing every instrument of Satan. Then I inquired of the angel of peace who proceeded with me, for whom these instruments were preparing. He said, these they are preparing for the kings and powerful ones of the earth, that thus they may perish. After which the righteous and chosen house of his assembly shall appear, and thenceforward unchangeable in the name of Yahuah Sabaoth. Nor shall those mountains exist in his presence as the earth and the hills, as the fountains of waters exist. And the righteous shall be relieved from the vexation of sinners. All right, y'all, we're going to end it in Enoch right there today. That was Enoch 49 to 53. All right. And if you're here, I'll go ahead and repeat this. Because when I said it, there were a few less people in the room. So the one of the references that I spoke about yesterday, about when I was talking about when Yahuah was creating woman and how there was an angel set apart for each body part and stuff, and we was talking about healing. I'm not going to share that reference today, because it's not just the 3 books of Enoch from the different places, like the Ethiopian Book of Enoch, the Slavonic Book of Enoch, and it's another Book of Enoch. It's the different ones when they put them all together so you can see all the missing pieces, because some have missing fragments that other ones still have. So they put them into one. But it's not just those. It's a few other books that are added in their old manuscripts. And I was reading over a couple of things yesterday, and I'm not quite sure about that information. And it's because it's all combined into one. Until I get a chance to look at that, because I don't want to share something with you that that may be off. You know, I'm sure about the books of Enoch, but I'm not sure about these that they've combined with Enoch. So until I get a chance to check that out, I know I spoke too fast yesterday. Sometimes I get ahead of myself. Forgive me. I'm sorry. But I'm not going to share that reference until I get a chance to look into that, right? Okay. Top of the day, Shayla. Okay, y'all. So we're going to hop right over here to the Legends of the Jews, and we're going to pick up where we left off yesterday in Volume 3. And I believe it. Nope, we did that. Oh, Moses receives the Torah. Okay, and if you have your books, it's page 277. All right, y'all. Okay. Okay, Moses receives the Torah. Also, after I read this, I'm going to share. Okay, let me read this first, then I share. Let me go ahead and read. Okay, Moses receives the Torah. When Moses reached heaven, he found Yahuwah occupied ornamenting the letters in which the Torah was written with little crown-like decorations, and he looked on without saying a word. Then Yahuwah said to him, "In thy home, do not people know the greeting of peace?" Moses, does it behoove a servant to address his master? Yahuwah, the mightiest at least have wished me success in my labors. Moses hereupon said, let the power of my Lord be great, according as thou hast spoken. Then Moses inquired as the significance of the crowns upon the letter, and was answered, hereafter there shall live a man called Akiba, son of Joseph, who will base an interpretation. Hold on. Hereafter there shall live a man called Akiba, son of Joseph, who will base an interpretation, a gigantic mountain of halakot upon every dot of these letters. Moses said to Yahuwah, show me this man. Yahuwah, go back 18 ranks. Moses went where he was bidden and could hear the discussion of the teacher sitting with his disciples in the 18th rank, but was not able to follow these discussions, which greatly grieved him. But just then he heard the disciples questioning their master in regard to a certain subject. Whence dost thou know this? And he answered, this is a halakah given to Moses on Mount Sinai, and not Moses was content. Moses returned to Yahuwah and said to him, thou hast a man like Akiba, and yet dost thou give the Torah to Israel through me? But Yahuwah said, be silent. So it has been decreed by me. Moses then said, O Lord of the world, thou hast permitted me to behold this man's learning. Let's see also the reward which will be meted out to him. Yahuwah said, go, return and see. Moses saw them sell the flesh of the martyr Akiba at the meat market. He said to Yahuwah, is this the reward for such erudition? Yahuwah replied, be silent, thus have I decreed. Moses then saw how Yahuwah wrote the word long suffering in the Torah and asked, does this mean that thou hast patience with the pious? But Yahuwah answered, nay, with sinners also am I long suffering. What? Moses exclaimed. Let the sinners perish. Yahuwah said no more. But when Moses implored Yahuwah's mercy, begging him to forgive the sin of the people of Israel, Yahuwah answered him, thou thyself did advise me to have no patience with sinners and to destroy them. Yea, said Moses, but I'm sorry. Guys, I'm sorry. This is a truck. Hello, this is Pamela.
Hello, Pamela. This is Steve, that driver again for the delivery.
Yes, sir. James. Yes, I know James isn't there. I just spoke with him. He should be there in about 10 to 15 minutes.
Okay, thank you.
All right, you're welcome.
Bye.
Bye-bye. I'm sorry, y'all. It's a driver at our dock. I'm sorry. Had to answer that. Let me go back up. Let me just go back up here. Moses then saw how Yahuwah wrote the word long-suffering in the Torah and asked, does this mean that thou hast patience with the pious? But Yahuwah answered, nay, with the sinners also am I long-suffering. What? Moses exclaimed, let the sinners perish. Yahuwah said no more. But when Moses implored Yahuwah's mercy, begging for him to forgive the sin of the people of Israel, Yahuwah answered him, thou thyself did advise me to have no patience with sinners and to destroy them. Yea, Moses said, but thou did declare that thou art long-suffering with sinners also. Let now the patience of Yahuwah be great according as thou hast spoken. The 40 days that Moses spent in heaven were entirely devoted to the study of Torah. He learned the written as well as the oral teaching, yea, even the doctrines that an able scholar would someday propound were revealed to him. He took an especial delight in hearing the teachings of the Tana Rabbi Eliezer and received the joyful message that this great scholar would be one of his descendants. Ain't that something? When he was up there, he actually saw this happening in future times. Greetings. You've been doing this for the last week. What you been doing, Leisha? What's up? OMG, I've been doing this for the last week. I missed what you said. I don't know what you did. Okay, I'm gonna keep reading. The study of Moses was so planned for the 40 days that by day Yahuwah studied with him the written teachings and by night the oral. In this way he was enabled to distinguish between night and day, for in heaven the night shineth as the day. Let me go back and read that again. Hold on, listen. The study of Moses was so planned for the 40 days that by day Yahuwah studied with him the written teachings and by night the oral. In this way he was enabled to distinguish between night and day, for in heaven the night shineth as the day. There were other signals also by which he could distinguish night from day. For if he heard the angels praise Yahuwah with holy, holy, holy is the Lord of hosts, he knew that it was day. But if they praised him with blessed be the Lord to whom blessing is due, he knew it was night. Then too, if he saw the sun appear before Yahuwah and cast itself down before him, he knew that it was night. However, the moon and the stars cast themselves at his feet, he knew that it was day. It was good paying attention to detail, Moses, right? Okay. He could also tell time by the occupation of the angels, for by day they prepared manna for Israel, and by night they sent it down to the earth. The prayers he heard in heaven served him as another token whereby he might know the time. For if he heard the recitation of the Shema precede prayer, he knew that it was day. But if the prayer preceded the recitation of the Shema, then it was night. Hold on, let me read that again. We're gonna probably have to start doing the Shema, y'all, when we start this. Like we do the blessing, and then I'm gonna add the Shema to it in the beginning. The Shema is, Hear, O Israel. Pay attention. Listen, Yahuwah, our God, he is one God. That's the Shema. Oh, responding to Trina's comment about not sleeping. Okay, thanks, Tiffany. Okay, let me read this again. The prayers he heard in heaven served him as another token whereby he might know the time. For if he heard the recitation of the Shema precede prayer, he knew that it was day. But if the prayer preceded the recitation of the Shema, then it was night. During his stay with him, Yahuwah showed Moses all the 7 heavens and the celestial temple and the 4 colors that he was to employ to fit up the tabernacle. Moses found it difficult to retain the color, whereupon Yahuwah said to him, Turn to the right. And as he turned, he saw a host of angels in garments that had the color of the sea. This, said Yahuwah, is violet. Wait, what? Okay, color's different in heaven. I got look, purple, violet. Okay, I'm gonna keep reading, y'all. This, Yahuwah said, is violet. Then he bade Moses to turn left, and there he saw angels dressed in red. And Yahuwah said, This is royal purple. What? Hold on. Okay. Okay, so he's seeing one thing with his eyes, but Yahuwah is, I don't know. He said, let's read it again. Okay. During his stay with him, Yahuwah showed Moses all the 7 heavens and the celestial temple and the 4 colors that he was to employ and the 4 colors that he was to employ to fit up the tabernacle. Moses found it difficult to retain the color, whereupon Yahuwah said to him, Turn to the right. And as he turned, he saw a host of angels in garments that had on the color of the sea. This, said Yahuwah, is violet. Then he bade Moses to turn to the left, and there he saw angels dressed in red. And Yahuwah said, "This is royal purple." Moses hereupon turned around to the rear and saw angels robed in a color that was neither purple nor violet. And Yahuwah said to him, "This color is crimson." Moses then turned about and saw angels robed in white. And Yahuwah said to him, "This is the color of twisted linen." Although Moses now devoted both night and day to the study of Torah, he still learned nothing. For hardly had he learned something from Yahuwah when he forgot it again. Moses thereupon said to Yahuwah, "O Lord of the world, 40 days have I devoted to studying the Torah without having profited anything." Yahuwah therefore bestowed the Torah upon Moses, and now he could descend to Israel, for now he remembered all that he had learned. Hardly had Moses descended from heaven with the Torah when Satan appeared before Yahuwah and said, "Where forsooth is the place where the Torah is kept?" For Satan knew nothing of the revelation of Yahuwah on Sinai, and as Yahuwah had employed him elsewhere on purpose, that he might not appear before him as an accuser, saying, "Wilt thou give the Torah to a people that 40 days later will worship the golden calf?" In answer to Satan's question regarding the whereabouts of the Torah, Yahuwah said, "I gave the Torah to earth." To earth, then, Satan betook himself with his query, "Where is the Torah?" Earth said, "Yahuwah knows of its course. He knows its abiding place, for he looked to the ends of the earth and seeth it under the whole earth." Satan now passed to the sea to seek for the Torah, but the sea also said, "It is not with me." And the abyss said, "It is not in me." Destruction and death said, "We have heard the fame thereof with our ears." Satan now returned to Yahuwah and said, "O Lord of the world, everywhere have I sought the Torah, but I have not found it." Yahuwah replied, "Go seek the son of Amram." Satan now hastened to Moses and asked him, "Where is the Torah that Yahuwah hath given thee?" Whereupon Moses answered, Who am I, that the Holy One, blessed be he, should have given me the Torah?" Yahuwah hereupon spoke to Moses, "O Moses, thou utterest a falsehood." But Moses answered, "O Lord of the world, thou hast in thy possession a hidden treasure that daily delights thee. Thou hast in thy possession a hidden treasure that daily delights thee. Dare I presume to declare it in my possession?" Then Yahuwah said, "As a reward for thy humility, the Torah shall be named for thee, and it shall henceforth be known as the Torah of Moses." And we all hear that sometime. We hear it in like the Jewish sects. They call the Torah or the Torah of Moses, or we call it the Torah of Yah. I call it the instructions of Yah, but that's what Yahuwah said. Then Yahuwah said, "As a reward for thy humility, the Torah shall be named for thee, and it shall henceforth be known as the Torah of Moses." Moses departed from the heavens with the 2 tables on which the 10 commandments were engraved, and just the words of it by nature divine, so too are the tables on which they are engraved. These were created by Yahuwah's own hands in the dust of the first Sabbath at the close of creation, and were made of a sapphire-like stone. You remember when we read that a few days ago when we were actually going through the days? It also said some things that were created, like the ram, the tablets, Aaron's rod, all of those things. There was a list about, I want to say it was like 7 things. Don't quote me on that. But there was a list of things that were created that were called out, and this was one of them. That's why Moses was struggling to retain the colors. Why is Satan so busy looking for the Torah? It's not like he plans to use it for any good. I know, right? Look, we didn't see his shenanigans. Listen, hold on. These were created by Yahuwah's own hand in the dust of the first Sabbath at the close of the creation, and were made of sapphire-like stone. On each of the 2 tables are the 10 commandments, 4 times repeated, and in such wise were they engraved that the letters were legible on both sides. For like the tables, the writing and the pencils for inscription too were of heavenly origin. Between the separated commandments were noted down all the precepts of Yahuwah. I'm sorry. Between the separate commandments were noted down all the precepts of the Torah and all their particulars, although the tables were not more than 6 hands in length and as much in width. It is another of the attributes of the tables that although they are fashioned out of the hardest stone, they can still be rolled up like a scroll. Then Yahuwah handed the tables to Moses. He seized them by the top third, whereas Moses took hold on the bottom third, but hold on. Okay, let me read that again. When Yahuwah handed the tables to Moses, he seized them by the top third, whereas Moses took hold of the bottom third, but the third on the bottom remained open. And it was in this way that the divine radiance was shed upon Moses' face. All right, y'all. So now we'll go to the section about the golden calf. Okay, before I do that, this note I wanted to make. Okay, so Yahuwah just gave Moses the Torah. Now, when we read in a regular Bible in Exodus, right? I know we call the first 5 books, Genesis to Deuteronomy, which is Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy, right? We call those the 5 books of Moses, or we call it the Torah. But actually, you can find in Exodus chapter 22 to 23, the exact Torah, that's like the meat of the Torah, without all the things that apply to the priesthood, right? If you keep going, you will get the things about the priesthood. But right there in Exodus chapter 20 to 23 is the meat of the Torah. I'm not saying discard the portion about the priesthood and all the measurements and how you to adorn the priest and all those who are to take office, but that the portion in 20 to 23 applies to everyone, priesthood and non-priesthood, the whole of Israel, right? And even those strangers who decide to come among us, it's the same rules for all. But the section after that, which it just applies to the priesthood, which we know is suspended. We in captivity. So I'm saying still read it, but that's the meat of it right there. And that's something you can read on a daily basis. Like, seriously. You can read that on a daily basis. Like, take the Torah into you on a daily basis. Exodus 20 to 23. And I'm also type that in the comments today. Exodus chapter 20, 21, 22, and 23. And you know another way you can get it inside of you. It's so short. It's what, 4 chapters? 20, 21, 22, and 23. They're so short that you can actually write them. You may not write all 4 of them in one day, but space it out over the course of 6 days. I don't know. Write a portion of it each day. Write it over the course of a month. Or if you decide this, a sentence, when you write it, something happens when you write it. As a matter of fact, now that I'm talking about it, it is a requirement of all the kings of Israel, of all the leaders of Israel, to get a copy of the Torah from the Levites. We don't have the Levites, but we have it here. So we have a copy of it. Kings of your household. If you live by yourself, it doesn't matter. If you're the king of your house or whatever, and I just think it's just a good practice anyway, because I'm in the habit of making my children. I'm not making them write all 4 chapters, but they do write out the 10 commandments. And within those 10 commandments, we can find the extension of all the commandments, right? That's just a condensed version of all the commandments, right? So even if you just write the 10, write them out daily, you'll realize something begins to happen to you. I can't quite explain it, but I'm just saying something begins to happen to you. So I just want to throw that out there. You ain't got to do it, but I'm just saying, think about it. You know, if you don't write the 4 chapters, you can at least write the 10, right? I make my children write. They don't, well, Joshua, because he's older, he'll write it out. The whole thing. I'm making Saya write it out. He like to complain and say, oh, it's too much. My fingers hurt. I mean, your fingers don't hurt.
You have to give him the Torah.
Isaiah, he's 6. He complains, oh my gosh, why do I gotta keep writing this? Can I just write 1? So I make him write 1 commandment a day over the week, you know, and we still don't get to the whole 10, but we eventually get to it. But I'm like, you know what? There are children that was doing algebra at the age of 5 and 6 years old. Y'all trying to play me. We're gonna keep practicing. All y'all gonna do this. Bella, she just recites it. They all recite it, but I'm just saying it's a good habit. I'm not saying you ain't gotta make that law, but I'm just saying it's something good. I'm telling you from personal experience I've experienced. When you actually write it out, it gets into you in another way, and it like takes a seat and sits down deep within you, you know. And believe it or not, when you go throughout your day, and I'm sure this is probably happening to all y'all, you know, even if you don't read the Bible every day, but sometimes when you find yourself in a predicament, scriptures will come back to you. It will begin to talk to you. And that's what it's designed to do, to keep us on track. But when you make a daily habit of doing that, reciting Yahuwah's Torah, or just speaking it, if there's a song where I'll find a song, but you can just sing it, get it in you. It will, when you need it, at the times when you need it the most, whether you're feeling down, depressed, or you're in a predicament, don't know what to do, you will realize it will begin to talk to you. Truth will begin to talk to you. Yahuwah is truth. He will begin to talk to you through those words that have been inscribed on your spirit and by your hand. All right, that's it. Exodus chapter 30. I'm sorry, what I said? Exodus chapter 20 to 23. That's the meat of the Torah without the portion of the priesthood. I know some people are, I'm saying that just the meat portion because the priesthood doesn't apply to everybody. So I'm just saying 20 to 23 is for everybody. Everything condensed, and everything around that is what leads up to the Torah being given, and everything that happened when they continue acting a fool after he gave it to them. Okay, the golden calf. When Yahuwah revealed himself upon Mount Sinai, all Israel sang a song of jubilation to Yahuwah, for their faith in Yahuwah was on this occasion without bounds and unexampled, except possibly at the time of the Messiah, when they likewise would cherish this firm faith. The angels too rejoiced with Israel, only Yahuwah was downcast on this day and sent his voice out of thickest darkness in token of his sorrow. The angels hereupon said to Yahuwah, is not the joy that thou hast created thine? But Yahuwah replied, you do not know what the future will bring. He knew that 40 days later, Israel would give the lie to the words of Yahuwah. Thou shalt have no other gods before me, and would adore the golden calf. And truly, Yahuwah had sufficient cause to grow sad at this thought, for the worship of the golden calf had more disastrous consequences for Israel than any of their other sins. Yahuwah had resolved to give life everlasting to the nation that would accept Torah. Hence, Israel, upon accepting the Torah, gained supremacy over the angel of death. But they lost this power when they worshiped the golden calf. And that will... Oh, Tiffany, you said it. Now that'll preach. I didn't even see you type that. I'm about to lift my head up and say, now that'll preach. Listen, I'm going to read that again. Hold on. Let's just go back up. I'm gonna just start all this little tiny paragraph over. Listen. When Yahuwah revealed himself upon Mount Sinai, all Israel sang a song of jubilation to Yahuwah, for their faith in Yahuwah was on this occasion without bounds and unexampled, except possibly at the time of the Messiah, when they likewise will cherish this firm faith. The angels too rejoiced with Israel. Only Yahuwah was downcast on this day and sent his voice out of thickest darkness in token of his sorrow. The angel hereupon said to Yahuwah, is not the joy that thou hast created thine? But Yahuwah replied, you do not know what the future will bring. He knew that 40 days later, Israel would give the lie to the words of Yahuwah. Thou shalt have no other gods before me, and would adore the golden calf. And truly, Yahuwah had sufficient cause to grow sad at this thought, for the worship of the golden calf had more disastrous consequences for Israel than any of their other sins. Yahuwah had resolved to give life everlasting to the nation that would accept the Torah. Hence Israel, upon accepting the Torah, gained supremacy over the angel of death, but they lost this power when they worshiped the golden calf. As a punishment for this, their sin, they were doomed to study the Torah in suffering and bondage, in exile and unrest, amid the cares of life and burdens, until in the messianic time in the future world, Yahuwah will compensate them for all their sufferings. But until that time, there is no sorrow that falls to Israel's lot that is not in part a punishment for their worship of the golden calf. That what that said right there is exactly what we're doing. We are studying the Torah in our captivity, in the land of our captivity. And all this stems from what they did on this day when they gave lie to the words of Yahuwah's Torah and they began to worship the golden calf. Listen, hold on, pause for a minute. Listen, let me read that again. That just shooketh my soul, Natasha. Like you said, my soul shooketh. That just shooketh my soul. I'm gonna read that again. Listen to this. We doing it. Yahuwah is so faithful. He said, I'm gonna be so faithful to you that I'm gonna tell you now what's gonna happen to you then, so you will know that it was not I that was unfaithful. Listen to y'all. Listen. But they lost this power. Let me go back up one. Yahuwah had resolved to give life everlasting to the nation that would accept the Torah. Hence, Israel, upon accepting the Torah, gained supremacy over the angel of death. But they lost this power when they worshiped the golden calf. Right here. This is where we at right now. We still living out this punishment. As a punishment for this, their sin, they were doomed to study the Torah in suffering and bondage, in exile and unrest, amid cares of life and burdens, until in the messianic time and in the future world, Yahuwah will compensate them for all their sufferings. But until that time, there is no sorrow that falls to Israel's lot that is not in part a punishment for their worship of the golden calf. May Yahuwah forgive us all and forgive the sins of our ancestors that brought us to this place. He's so faithful. Stupid. He's faithful and he's true. But hey, we here.
Yeah, my fault. We here. I was smack up.
Well, it's time to get it right, son, and do what your forefathers did not do.
They did like the brain cells to me.
Strange as it may seem, that Israel should set out to worship this idol at the very time when Yahuwah was busy with the preparation of the 2 tables of the law. Still, the following circumstances are to be considered. When Moses departed from the people to hasten to Yahuwah to receive the Torah, he said to them, 40 days from today, I will bring you the Torah. But at noon on the 40th day, Satan came and with a wizard's trick conjured up for the people a vision of Moses lying stretched out dead on a briar that floated midway between the earth and heaven. Pointing to it with their fingers, they cried, "This is the man Moses that brought us up out of the land of Egypt, under the leadership of the magicians, Jannes and Jambres." And they appeared before Aaron, saying, "The Egyptians were wont to carry their gods about with them to dance and play before them, that each might be able to behold his gods. And now we desire that thou should make us a god such as the Egyptians had." Okay, so if you missed what just happened, Moses, before he went up, clearly that part was left out. Before Moses went up, he told them that he would be up there 40 days, right? 40 days. So it wasn't until the 40th day that they began this foolishness, because Satan, he tricked them pretty much. I'll go back up. Listen. When Moses departed from the people to hasten to Yahuwah to receive the Torah, he said to them, 40 days from today, I will bring you the Torah. But at noon on the 40th day, Satan came and with a wizard's trick conjured up for the people a vision of Moses lying stretched out dead on a briar that floated midway between earth and heaven. Pointing to it with their fingers, they cried, "This is the man Moses that brought us up out of the land of Egypt." Under the leadership of the magicians, Jannes and Jambres, they appeared before Aaron, saying, The Egyptians were wont to carry their gods about with them, to dance and play before them, that each might be able to behold his gods. They're pretty much saying, we want gods and we want to be able to carry them around with us. And now we desire that thou shouldest make us a god such as the Egyptians had, when Hur, the son of Miriam, whom Moses during his absence had appointed joint leader of the people with Aaron, owing to his birth, which placed him among the notables of highest rank, beheld this. He said to them, O ye frivolous ones, are ye no longer mindful of the many miracles that Yahuwah has wrought for you? In their wrath, the people slew this pious and noble man, and pointing out his dead body to Aaron, they said to him, threatening, if thou wilt make us a god, it is well. But if not, we will dispose of thee as of him. So now we see why Aaron committed these shenanigans. It was that his life was in danger. Okay, let's listen to this. It's going to tell a little bit more. If thou wilt make us a god, it is well. But if not, we will dispose of thee as of him. Aaron had no fear for his life, but he thought, if Israel were to commit so terrible a sin as to slay their priest and prophet, Yahuwah would never forgive them. He was willing rather to take the sin upon himself than to cast the burden of so wicked deed upon the people. He therefore granted them their wish to make them a god, but he did it in such a way that he still cherished the hope that this thing might not come to pass. Hence, he demanded from them not their own ornaments for the fashioning of the idol, but the ornaments of their wives, their sons, and their daughters, thinking, if I were to tell them to bring me gold and silver, they would immediately do so. Hence, I will demand the earrings of their wives, their sons, and their daughters, that through their refusal to give up their ornaments, the matter might come to naught. But Aaron's assumption was only in part true. The women did indeed firmly refuse to give up their jewels for the making of a monster that is of no assistance to its worshipers. As a reward for this, Yahuwah gave, listen to this, y'all. Look, when I read this, I was like, oh, snap, Natasha. Listen to this. Remember, you'll get what I'm saying. Listen to this. Because you was the one that made mention of this a while ago, and I started looking into it. Listen. The women indeed did firmly refuse to give up their jewels for the making of a monster that is of no assistance to his worshipers. As a reward for this, Yahuwah gave new moons as holidays to women, and in the future world, they too will be rewarded for their firm faith in Yahuwah, and that, like the new moons, they too may monthly be rejuvenated. But when the men saw that no gold or silver for the idol was forthcoming from the women, they drew off their own earrings and they wore in Arab fashion, and they brought these to Aaron. So back up to this. Listen, if we spent more time in nature and we weren't like locked away inside of buildings and stuff, our body's time clocks would not be like off. You ever notice, women may know, men who are married or have sisters or a bunch of women in the house, you may know when women have their monthly cycle, they all sync up together, right? I don't know how that happens, but it has something to do with this and the moon. But if you're there, your cycle should literally sync, women. It should sync up with the moon, right? Every time we have a new moon, that process, our period, our monthly menstrual cycle, it's the same period, the length, the period of ovulation and fertility, all that stuff. It's the same 29-day period monthly as the moon. And if we are in tune with nature as we change our lifestyles and we begin filling our bodies with life-giving foods, feed our body life-living foods, and we stop eating a bunch of dead flesh and all these processed foods and stuff, our bodies will begin to regulate. The birth control, all these things throws the body's natural time clock off. And I began to look into this. I'm like, this is interesting. I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, I don't know how this happens, but this is happening, So I'm like, when I looked into, me, I'm like a kid in the lab. Oh, yes, a few of my friends lined up with me. Oh, wait a minute, Trina's still here. Listen, let me tell you something. When we was out to sea on the aircraft carrier, once a month, oh my gosh, it seemed like all hell broke loose in them burgers. Imagine being on an aircraft carrier, a floating city. Jeremiah, get that, please. A floating city with all these women living in the same berthing. There were different berthings. Different departments had their different berthings separate for their women. So the air department had their berthings with their women, and then the other departments, like darn it, I forget the other departments. You got V1, V2, V3, V4, and then you got the seaman trades, So, but you got these different departments with the different departments women in these separate berthings, and once a month all these women get their cycles. The ship's store below decks is overrun. They running out of maxi pads and tampons. It was, you got attitudes flying all over the place. Women about ready to kill each other once a month. And you can clearly tell on the ship when the women had their cycles. I'm just like, oh, Trina said, yes, Pam, I did. That was so nasty and stanky. Yes, and some of them women were not, I ain't gonna say they weren't taught, at least they weren't practicing good hygiene. Oh my gosh. And if my week fell on that week to be assigned to clean the women's bathroom, you talking about somebody pissed, having to take that trash up and clean up after some of these nasty heifers. Boy, I was heated, trying to keep my cool, being saved and stuff, and not being there cursing. I'm just like, oh, these nasty. I'm just like, who taught them how to care for themselves? I'm like, this is disgusting. So, but yeah, it's something, but if our bodies are in tune, it's like many moons being in the same place, we're going to sync up. So when you are out in nature and you're getting like the fresh, and like I said, and you're tuning your body back to its natural course that Yahuah has set it on, you'll begin to notice some of these, and your body, women, your cycle will begin to sync with the moon. So even if you lose your count, if you count, look, let me tell you something. Even if you lose your count, we're actually going out here to look, your body will begin to be a time clock for you. How amazing is that, right? They was leaving their stuff in the shower. I was smoking. How much? Oh, like, did you forget you had it in before you got in the shower, sis? And then did you not remember to take it out after you got out? I know exactly what you're talking about. Them women. I'm like, oh my gosh, girl. But anyway, all the women know what I'm talking about, especially if you're in a house full of women, or you've been somewhere with women that spend a lot of time together. And it normally happens when you're in close proximity with women that you're consistently spending time with. It just, nature just syncs up and it just happens, Okay. Okay, so I'm going to read this part again. I'm going to keep reading and we're going to be done. But Aaron's assumption was only in part true. The women indeed did firmly refuse to give up their jewels for the making of a monster that is of no assistance to his worshipers. As a reward for this, Yahuah gave new moons as holidays to women, and in the future world too, they would be rewarded for their firm faith in Yahuah, and that, like the new moons, they too may monthly be rejuvenated. When the men saw that no gold or silver for the idol was forthcoming from the women, they drew off their own earrings that they wore in Arab fashion and brought these to Aaron. No living calf would have shaped itself out of the gold of these earrings if a disaster had not occurred through an oversight of Aaron. For when Moses, at the exodus of Israel from Egypt, set himself to lifting the coffin of Joseph out of the depths of the Nile, he employed the following means. He took 4 leaves of silver and engraved on each image one of the beings that represented He took 4 leaves of silver and engraved on each image one of the beings represented at the celestial throne, the lion, the man, the eagle, and the bull. We also read about that in the book of Daniel, this particular beast, this glorious, terrible beast around the throne of Yah. He then cast on the river the leaf with the image of the lion, and the waters of the river became tumultuous and roared like a lion. He then threw down the leaf with the image of man, and the scattered bones of Joseph united themselves into an entire body. And when he cast in the third leaf with the image of the eagle, the coffin floated up to the top. As he had no use for the fourth leaf of silver with the image of the bull, he asked a woman to store it away for him. While he was occupied with the transportation of the coffin, he later forgot to reclaim the silver leaf. This was now among the ornaments that the people brought to Aaron, and it was exclusively owing to this bull's image of magical virtues that a golden bull arose out of the fire into which Aaron put the gold and silver. Oh, that makes sense. Remember, hold on. Let me read between the comment and then I'll go back. I can imagine the women thinking we're not about to make this mistake like Eve did. I'm telling you. Look, okay. So remember, hopping back to this, remember in Exodus when Moses went up, when this whole scene was going on. Remember when Moses came down and he said, "What the crap is going on here?" You know, Aaron was like, "Look, the people, they said do this, and I just mixed all this stuff up in the pot, and poof, a calf came out." Right? It makes sense. I kind of exaggerated them words a little bit. Listen. Read this last sentence. This makes sense now. As he had no use for the fourth leaf of silver with the image of the bull, he asked a woman to store it away for him while he was occupied with the transportation of the coffin and later forgot to reclaim the leaf of silver. This now was among the ornaments that the people brought to Aaron, and it was exclusively owing to this bull's image of magical virtues that a golden bull arose out of the fire into which Aaron put the gold and silver. When the mixed multitude that had joined Israel in their exodus from Egypt saw this idol like a living being, they said to Israel, "This is thy God, O Israel." The people then betook themselves to the 70 members of the Sanhedrin and demanded that they worship the bull that had led Israel out of Egypt. God, they said, had not delivered us out of Egypt, but only himself, who had in Egypt been in captivity. The members of the Sanhedrin remained loyal to their God and were hence cut down by the rabble. The 12 heads of the tribes did not answer the summons of the people any more than the members of the Sanhedrin, and were therefore rewarded by being found worthy of beholding the divine vision. But the people worshiped not only the golden calf, they made 13 such idols, one for each of the tribes and one for all of Israel. More than this, they employed manna, which Yahuah in his kindness did not deny them, even on this day, as an offering to their idols. The devotion of Israel to this worship of the bull is in part explained by the circumstance that while passing through the Red Sea, they beheld the celestial throne, and most distinctly of the four creatures about the throne, they saw the ox. It was for this reason that they hit upon the notion that the ox had helped Yahuah in the exodus from Egypt, and for this reason did they worship the ox besides Yahuah. Then the people wanted to erect an altar for their idol, but Aaron tried to prevent this by saying, "It will be more reverential to your God if I build the altar in person." For he hoped that Moses might appear in the meantime. His expectation, however, was disappointed, for on the morning of the following day, when Aaron had at length completed the altar, Moses was not yet at hand, and the people began to offer sacrifices to their idol and to indulge in lewdness. And that, my beautiful people, is going to be our reading for today. Hold on, Jeremiah. So we are going to stop right here and make my mark, and we'll pick up the rest of this tomorrow after we finish reading the next few chapters of Enoch. All right, y'all. So it is Friday, December the 18th, 2020, day 27 of reading through the books of the law and prophets. Year 3 of reading through the books of the law and prophets, and of the 3-year consecutive day count, day 696. Oh, another correction. Yesterday on the video, I said it was day 694, but I corrected it in the description. It was actually day 695. Because I copy and paste to get the meat of my description where it has all the references, sometimes I forget to change the actual consecutive day count, or sometimes I may forget to change the date, but somebody will catch it, or I'll catch it and I'll go make the changes. But since I said the wrong day, I just wanted to make that correction too. So it's day 696 today. And we read Enoch chapter 49 through 53. And in the Legends of the Jews, we read volume 3, page 277, all the way to page 280. And I'll put that in the description today as well. All right, y'all. Remember also the meat of the Torah, like I explained, Exodus chapter 20 to 23. All right, y'all. So that's it. So let's go ahead and hop on over here to the blessing so everybody can get about their day. I really appreciate you all coming to hang out with me to stand my posts on these days. It makes it more interesting, engaging in conversation. Like, I don't know everything. I really don't. I try not to be a know-it-all. I really do. Sometimes I find myself trying to be a know-it-all in my house. And my children bring corrections, and I'm like, oh, shoot, yep, you right. And I got to humble myself to my children, you know. I'm like, you know what, you're right. I'm sorry. I was wrong. And my, yes, all 4 in my home sync up. You know, this must be delayed, y'all. The comment section definitely must be delayed on YouTube today, because some of these comments coming in from earlier, still coming in from when we was talking about the moon and women's cycles, y'all. Okay, so let's see. Okay, so the blessing is found, y'all, in Numbers chapter 6. Remember, the first 21 verses is what? The Nazarite vow. Man or woman can take the Nazarite vow, and the blessing is found starting at verse 23 all the way to the end of the chapter to verse 27. And I know some people have to go, and I know, let me just say this. I really enjoy doing the blessing at the end, because Yahuah, that's like a specific command to bless Yahuah's people with. So I really do enjoy blessing you all. But I know sometimes I'm a little long-winded and y'all got to go to work. But, you know, if you can stay for the blessing, stay for the blessing. If not, you know where it is. So come back and listen to it or read the blessing yourself, you know. But I really do take joy in blessing Yahuah's people. Keeping that, you know. And Yahuah spake unto Moses, saying, speak unto Aaron and unto his sons, saying, on this wise ye shall bless the children of Israel, saying unto them, may Yahuah bless us and keep us. May Yahuah make his face to shine upon us and be gracious unto us. May Yahuah lift up his countenance upon us and give us his peace. And they shall put my name upon the children of Israel, and I will bless them. All right, beautiful people, I love y'all, and I'll see y'all tomorrow, Saturday. So it's going to be 7:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. 7:30, right here, same place. 7:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, y'all. And you know what? I'm going to get the Shema. The Shema is found, I believe, in Deuteronomy chapter 6. Hear, O Israel, Yahuah thy God, Yahuah is one. That's the Shema. And it goes on to also tell you about teaching the law to your children. When you're sitting around your dinner table, when you're walking down the street, you should always speak the commands of Yah to your children and teach them about his laws, right? So you kind of bend them in a direction of righteousness, right? And it will, and as they continue to grow, that bend will come a full solid circle, and that come full circle, and you'll see your children begin to walk in righteousness. Not that they may do everything right, but that truth that has been deep-seated in their soul will begin to lead and guide them. It'll instruct them. It'll help them make righteous decisions. When they lose their temper and they're ready to throw their hands, it may, depending on how much self-control that they have at this point in their life, it may help them refrain from letting them hands loose on a well-deserving body. But I'm just saying, it will talk to them, right? And if they have pliable hearts and they're teachable and their heart is soft towards Yah, you'll eventually begin to see changes in their lives, right? All right, y'all. I love y'all. I'll see y'all bright and early. We're going to do the Shema. We're going to start doing the Shema. We're going to start doing the Shema when we start, and we're going to do the blessing in the end when we end. So that's how we're going to do it, y'all. All right, y'all. So I love y'all, and I'll see y'all in the morning.